One for the archives. All right. I'm looking for the chat. Ba-bound the chan, ba-bound the chan, ba-bound the chan, ba-bound the chan, ba-bound the chan. Copy. Yes, and then we go to Jew. We go to Jew. To Jew. Where'd you going? Here. Whoa. There we go. We're in there. Dum diddy dum diddy yeah. Wow. Dum dealio. All right. Hello there, folks. I hope my audio's good. Check, check. Looks like I got good levels. If anyone's out there, let me know for show. For show. Bum, bum, bum. But as I said, this is for the archives. If anybody jumps in, great. If not, that's fine. I'm in the process of moving. Well, first of all, welcome to my PlayStation collection live. Most of it. As I said, I'm in the process of moving, so some of my things are already packed up, and I just kind of wanted to do this video because I haven't done a collection live video in quite some time. And of my collection, remaining anyway, that's not already packed up, packaged up. My PlayStation collection was mostly intact here. I notice I'm missing quite a bit of stuff, probably. I'd say probably 25%. And most of those, I think, are the really good games. So, I mean, there's still some good games here. But I'm missing stuff like Tenchu, Bushido Blade, stuff like that I know I have, but I couldn't find recently. I know, like I said, I packed up some stuff already, so it is what it is. But let me begin. Let's see. Gotta check something before we start here. Choo chippy choo, chippy choo, chippy choo. All right. Let's go here. All right, I gotta check my settings. Gotta check my settings. Settings. Yeah, I think YouTube is clearly tripping. I need to check my settings because something seems off. I'm looking for my Stream settings. Let's see. Let's go back. This stuff is hard to navigate sometimes, or strange to navigate anyway. So let me. I didn't even know that. All right, so let me. Why is it saying that? That makes no sense. No good reason for that. It's saying limited for some reason. No good reason. I will request. This is dumb. Because I ain't cuss. Or nothing. Not yet, anyway. Alright, so let me. About details. Details. There we go. Public. Gaming. Everything looks good. No paid promotion. I don't do that, and anybody gonna give me no damn money, no way. Alright, so let's get out of there. Alright. Back to the stream. Away from the settings. Alright, so like I said, my PlayStation collection is not all here. Not by a long shot. Well, I won't say a long shot, but at least 25 to 30% is either packed. It's got to be packed in a box already. So we're out of here in like 2 weeks. So trying to get everything packed up beforehand so I can just load it onto the truck. And I'm not paying people to come in and load my stuff. We did that on the way down here, and they didn't package one of our China buffets very well, and it got a nice fat dent in it, and it drives me insane. And I'm still mad about that. So what are we paying you for? So this way, if anything is damaged, it's on me, and I'm not. Well, I can only be mad at myself. But anyway, let me show you what I have here. So I have some hardware. I don't have any of my controllers out. I must have packed those away as well. Let me check real quick into my, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. What about this little doodly doo? No. None there. Nope. Alright, so no biggie. So we just go with what we have. And I would say my PlayStation collection is probably my weakest, because N64 is my favorite console of all time. So I was spending most of my time there. Some of my PlayStation collection I got early 2000s, but I think I stopped even trying to look for games on it. 2004. I kind of wish I did continue, because a lot of the stuff is super pricey now. But I pretty much have everything I want. I mean, there's some RPGs here and there that I don't have that I want. But maybe some. I mean, PlayStation is my least. Was one of my least favorite consoles. And I know it had a ton of games on it, but a lot of just games didn't appeal to me. Outside of some RPGs, like I said, and some action games, which you'll mostly see here. I was spending way more time on my Sega Saturn and my N64, so that's where most of my money went at the time. Some of these are like bulk buys where I just bought a bunch of games, so some of it is just utter trash. Unlike pretty much any of my other systems, you might find a couple of games here that are filler, but outside of that, you won't find many. I mean, I would say each of my collection doesn't have more than 10 games that are filler. Some of them have, way less than that, like 3 or 4. So, but PlayStation, I do have some fillers. I do have some dupes. So, I do have a lot of loose games as well, and we're gonna go over those as well. So I'm gonna try to get through this. All right, so let's go to the hardware. Like I said, here is your PS1. You know, the I don't know when I got this. I want to say 98 or so. These are your. This is their standard console. You have your what we got in the back: serial I/O, your AV multi out, your power, your AC cord in. The brick is basically inside, so all you had was the little cord coming out, and your parallel I/O as well. I just used the AV multi out and pretty much played games that way. And once I got my PS2, I didn't even barely use this thing anymore. So here's your power button there, your reset button there, and then here's your open button. And it still works really well. I tested it recently, but like I said, I haven't played this in a long time. So once the PS2 came out, backwards compatibility, that's what I use for the most part for my PS1 games. And speaking of PS1, here is the revision. Now they had many revisions of the other version here, mostly internal, maybe some external stuff. But this is the first like slim console for PlayStation. The PS1, as you can see there. Let's see if this light lets me. There it is, PS1. And it's way slicker. When I saw it, I was like, I gotta have one of those because it was basically almost the size of like a CD, a portable CD player at the time, and a lot of people had those. Yeah, I'm old, and so you carry around this portable CD player. Open it up, put your CDs in it. You had to get some batteries. It lasted however long it lasted, but that's how we used to listen to music on the go back in the day. Portable CD players, and before that, cassette players. Yes, I'm old, like I said. Anyway, AV multi out in the back. The cord was different on this. I believe, I haven't used this in a while. I believe this actually had a brick. It wasn't built in. That way they could make it smaller, obviously. So it wasn't that big. It was pretty, it was probably the size of the PSP brick, which is not very big at all. But I really like the design of this. It's very small and compact. Like I said, it looks like a little compact disc player even. Let's see. I feel like something's not on here. Give me a second. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Looks like it's fine. I don't know. Something looked like it was off. But anyway, that was the hardware. Here's another piece of hardware. So I do have a controller. This is the 15th anniversary Street Fighter controller. Pretty cool. It's one of those, if you tilt it, the character does an action. So it's Ryu throwing a, Hadouken. So actually it's 3 actions. It's his pose, then he builds up, and then he throws it fully. You can kind of see it there, but there's like light and everything in the shot here. There it is. So pretty cool. I don't think I ever used this at all. It's open. It's not like it's sealed. So I don't think I ever used it though. But there's that. All right, so now we're gonna get into the mini. What do you call it? What would you call it? I guess loose games that I have. I got a ton of loose games, so we're gonna get into those. And a lot of this is junk, like I said, because I used to buy in bulk, because there was a lot of good deals that way. So here we have 10 Pin Alley, a very generic, bowling game. Nothing special about that there. There was tons of them. Bowling and pinball and stuff like that on the PS1. And then you have the tried and true Monopoly. And we all know what Monopoly is. I don't really need to go through that. If you want to know what I'm pulling out of, I'll lift it up here. This is my my massive, what would you call it? A game CD holder. It's huge. There's tons of games in here. So you can see that, and as you can also see, a lot of my games do have the booklet with them. I don't remember how I have them this way or why I have them this way. I clearly bought them like that with the book and the CD, but I don't know what else. I don't know why, it's like this. My chat's missing. All right. So, moving on to Die Hard trilogy. I used to play the crap out of Die Hard in the arcades, and so I had to get Die Hard for a home console, and this is a home console I got it for. I feel like I did buy it for Sega Saturn at some point. I don't think it was Die Hard trilogy. Maybe it was just Die Hard. I don't remember, but there it is, Die Hard for the PS1. All right. Moving on to, like I said, I bought games in bulk, so don't hold this against me. Bratz. Dress Up, Get Down, and Be a Bratz Superstar from Ubisoft. It's a little dingy. But yeah, the Bratz games. Some of these games are actually collectible, like going for a decent amount of money. So keep an eye out, man. Don't be hating on the Bratz. This is definitely a duplicate. This is Crash Bandicoot 2. Is it 2? 2 is Warped, I believe. Crash Bandicoot Warped. I do have this in a case, so that's definitely a dupe. Here's another sequel, Stuart Little 2. This game is actually kind of fun. It's a cool kind of action adventure game. Pretty decent graphics, actually. So I did actually play that. It's not just me having that. And here I have Tony Hawk, Pro Skater. Everybody knows what Pro Skater is. They did the remakes, I guess you would call them. Maybe the remasters. I don't know. Recently, so of 1 and 2. And like I said, that comes with the booklet. I have the booklet for that. I mean, NFL Blitz. I have this on every system. Basically, you can get it on. Is that? Ew. Let me clean that. NFL Blitz. You know what that is. So I have the game and booklet. Roll Cage. I actually don't remember Roll Cage. I feel like it's some kind of like combat kind of vehicle game, but I'm not sure. Yeah, here, let's look at the booklet. Yep. Yeah, I kind of remember it. Yeah, there you go. Roll Cage. Jet and Tetsuo. Yeah, look at these. Remember game booklets? How cool is that? Let's see. I'm trying to look through it here. Sardonic, what's up? Die Hard is so bad. Yeah, it's not a great game. It doesn't control great at all, but I just remember. It's nostalgia for me. Just popped in to say hi, LOL. Have to go back to work now. Have a good one. All right, Sardonic. Yeah, so some kind of card combat game from what I remember. Clearly I haven't played that much, but Psygnosis, I think that's how you say the company. They always had this real kind of cool style to their games. So, and then last one on this page is Nuclear Strike. It's one of, Nuclear Strike, Soviet Strike. They're all these kind of helicopter combat games. Let me see if I can pull this out. I think they're in the same kind of franchise, Nuclear Strike and Soviet Strike, which I also have. Is there something else in it? No, that's the other side. This does not want to come out. I'm going to mess up. I'm going to end up ripping this thing. Oh, because I'm pulling the other side too. That's why. There you go. Nuclear Strike. So, over the top kind of helicopter combat game. There was a ton of them. Or those types of game shooters on this generation of hardware. And you have Time Crisis, the classic arcade shooter. What would you call? I guess it's used a gun con or whatever to shoot at the screen, Duck Hunt style. So Time Crisis, that's a classic. I used to play in the arcades a lot. And then of course, Need for Speed, Porsche Unleashed. There was so many different Need for Speed games, and I think there still kind of is. And this is the Porsche special one. I have a case for this. I don't know why it's in here. Chrono Cross. I think disappointed some people. Wasn't nearly as good as Chrono Trigger on Super Nintendo, but I thought it was still a pretty good game. So I don't get why it doesn't get a little bit more accolades. And then I have the Japanese version of Dragon Warrior. Actually, in the West, it was called Dragon Warrior. It's Dragon Quest in Japan. I think it's always been, but for some reason they call it Dragon Warrior here, and then they switched back to Dragon Quest for the West as well. So it's a little confusing. But this is Dragon Warrior 7. I have the Japanese version because I wanted the case for it. I have the English version of the game, and that's one of the games I already packed away. So I don't think it's in this stack. It might be, but I don't think so. But yeah, that's why I have the Japanese version. Then we have Spec Ops Covert. I used to be into these games, like tactical shooters and stuff. Siphon Filter, that kind of stuff. But I never really liked Metal Gear for whatever reasons. I never got why everybody loved it. So there's Spec Ops Covert Assault, and here's Spec Ops Ranger Elite. These guys were making, as Take-Two, they were making those types of games before Ubisoft kind of took it over with the Tom Clancy stuff. But, it is what it is. The Redacted Computer says, "Hi, what's up? What is the sequel to Fast and Furious? Slow and Chill?" But if they made a sequel to that game, the want for the speed limit. All right. And then you have, you love these licensed motor oil games, Castrol, Honda. It's kind of a generic superbike racing game. Not bad, not great. Then we have NASCAR 2000. I used to really like NASCAR. Probably one of the only brothers around that really used to watch NASCAR and get into it. I have a ton of NASCAR games from this era. Then I have 2 copies of Battle Stations. And like I said, most of these games, pretty much all these games I'm showing you, I have at least the instruction manual for. So I could at some point put it in, which I probably will, just put it in generic case. Battle Stations. I don't even remember this game, but I have 2 copies, but I'm sure it's because it came in a lot. It's some kind of, it's what it sounds like. It's a kind of a warship battle game. Battleship. And then we have Supercross Circuit. I have a ton of motorbike racing games. I was really into motorbikes in these days. When a lot of people were into skateboarding, my extreme sport was motorbikes and BMXing. So, and then we have Space Invaders. I don't know if this has the original one on it, but it does have the new version. Redacted Computers says, "I remember Battle Stations on the Sega Saturn." I didn't even know there was a Sega Saturn version. So you just taught me something. Triple Play 2000. Baseball. We know what that is. EA and 989 going at it. And then we have Virtual Pool. I actually did play this a lot. I love pool games. I don't know. I really get into them. I like playing pool. So that's one of the things I'm really excited about with my new house is I'm going to be able to get me a pool table. Finally, I'll have the room for it and put it down in my bar. I have a full bar in my basement, and it's going to be a game room down there, and I'm really excited about that. I'll get, maybe a couple of arcades in there, and full-on arcades, and a nice not ping pong, I keep saying ping pong. What do you call it? Pinball machine. I'm really looking forward to that. All right, and I'm a baseball fan, so I have a ton of baseball games. There's MLB 99, which is 989. Is it 989 Sports that did this? It just says Sony, so I'm guessing it's 989 because that was their guys for sports games. Then we have Jet Moto 2. Pretty decent series. I don't know if you played this or not. Do I have Dragon Ball Z Legends? I do not. For PS1, no. I'm pretty sure. Most of my Dragon Ball Z stuff, because I was never really into Dragon Ball Z. My girlfriend at the time was, but most of the Dragon Ball Z games I have are GameCube. So GameCube and PS2. I remember there was a baseball game where there was cheats that make the bat hit home runs just by bunting. That's crazy. Here's another battleship game called. Oh no, this is a gunship. Here, this is another helicopter shooter game. So, like I said, there were a ton of these back in the day. There's one. And here's a game show game. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I'm sure I got this in a lot because I'm not really. It's cool to have these sometimes because it's kind of like, nostalgia. You remember the era. Like I had forgotten that like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire came out in the 90s. Is this? Let me see when this game was. Trying to find the year this game is copyrighted. I can't see it on here. Let me pull it out. Because I mean this was Regis, right? Yeah, Regis Philbin was the host of this show. I'm trying to find a copyright date on this disc or a print date or something. License doesn't say a year. That is strange. It usually has a year on there somewhere. Well, whatever. Maybe if it. I'm curious. I gotta look in here. Maybe it's in the manual somewhere. Copyright something something. All rights reserved. Come on, something. Give me something. I can't believe I don't see it anywhere. It's crazy. I like the man intro theme from Jet Moto 2. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Wow, I'm a little annoyed by that. I spent a lot of time trying to find the date on this freaking game, and I can't find it. And this is the second edition. So this is not even the first game. All right, and now we have Red Alert Retaliation, those battle games. This is RTS, if I'm not mistaken. This is RTS game. Came from the PC. I believe. Then we have Cool Borders 4. I can't believe there was 4 Cool Borders games. I remember 2 of them, but apparently there's 4. And this is one of the, Sony was selling a lot of these types of games on the PS1, because the audience grew older and they catered to more kind of like extreme sports stuff. And so there was a lot of games like this, with the Cool Borders and the Jet Motos and stuff like that. Tony Hawk's and the motocross games. So it was good for that. Here's one of the many SpongeBob games. SpongeBob SquarePants Super Sponge. I don't remember which one it is. These games kind of all mixed together with me, except for Battle for Bikini Bottom. I remember that game. But there's like a ton of SpongeBob games. And they all kind of melt together for me. So I don't remember. Here's another Need for Speed game. This is actually one of the mainline series games. Need for Speed 2. Which there was a ton of these games on PS1. There were so many sequels. That was the thing about the PS1. The PS1 was very popular, and there was just tons of sequels. Some games got up to 4, like you saw Cool Borders. A lot of games got up to 4 games on one system, and that's just crazy. Tomb Raiders and things like that. All right, and here we have Atari. Oh, that stuck. This is probably not a good disc anymore. A little sticky. Atari Anniversary Collection. There's a bunch of Atari games on here. I don't remember. I don't really have nostalgia for Atari outside of like my memories for it. But those games are pretty ancient. Now you can get up to Coleco, which is not that much younger, but I have a lot more nostalgia for Coleco. Then we have Pong. Speaking of Atari and whatnot, the game that pretty much sold Atari in the beginning, kind of like the Game Boy and Tetris. No. I'm thinking the Pong machines. What am I saying? Atari. Medal of Honor. This is the first one, and it started it all. Unlike Call of Duty, which was basically the answer to this game, because everybody was making their World War II shooters basically on the GameCube, PS1 or PS2 era, and it just blew up from there. Medal of Honor fell off, and Battlefield kind of stepped up. And like I said, here's the Tom Clancy Rainbow Six. I was really into these games back in these days, so there you have it. Legacy of Kain Blood Omen for PS1. I don't have it for PS1, but I have it for Dreamcast. That is the superior version. So, Redacted Computer, I have the Dreamcast version of that game. Love it. Love it. ONE. I really don't remember this game. Let's see. Let's look at the book. Maybe it'll jar some memories here. Or jog. I don't know what it's called. Alright, so not a lot going on in this. I mean, there's no pictures. A lot of words and some bad 3D renders. It looks like to be some kind of shooter. I really don't remember this game because it's probably not memorable. But I do remember ASC games. They made Descent, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but I think they made Descent. All right. Here's Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit. So there you go. You know what that is again? Racing. And then we have the fighting game on PlayStation as far as I'm concerned. Tekken 2. This was the 3D fighting game on PlayStation. And loved it. I'm not sure which is my favorite, 2 or 3. I think it's 2. 2 is probably the one I played the most. Then we have Mortal Kombat Trilogy. You know what that is, of course. The first 3 Mortal Kombat games all together. Well, as far as characters and whatnot, all squished in one game. Oh, that's PS2. I think that's it for my Lucy's. Lucy's. Let's see. I don't think there's any more PS1 games. Nope. It's PS3. Sega Saturn. That's PC. Sega CD. Sega Dreamcast. PlayStation 2. That should be an interesting one. Here we go. No, that's Saturn. Let me see, there's one. I don't think there's any more in here. That's all PS2 and original Xbox. And, yep, that's it for the Lucy's. The Lucy's are done, man. Alright. Put them over there. Get me a sip. Yeah, Blood Omen. I do have Blood Omen. Oh, wait a minute. I'm thinking of Soul Reaver. Sorry. I'm thinking of Soul Reaver, which is, you know which one that is. Yeah, Blood Omen I do have for PS1. And that's another game that I don't see in my collection here. So clearly, I packed it away. Because I do have Blood Omen on PS1. So yeah, sorry about that, Redacted. You are correct. Soul Reaver is the game you're referring to. Yeah, Blood Omen was mostly early CG top-down. Yeah, I do have that game. I played that game. I beat that game on PS1. So, back in the day. All right. So, after having a Lucy of Bratz, I also have a full-on complete copy of Bratz. Yeah, I'm making sure that it's in there. So, yeah, I have 2 copies of this game. I hope it's worth something. Probably not. So let's put that. Actually, let me move this stuff here. That way I'll have a nice stackable area here. All right. Moving on. NHL 2001. NHL I was also a lot into. I still watch it from time to time, but I used to watch it way more back in these days. Thanks to Blades of Steel on NES, I started watching it very young, and I just kind of got into it. Go Bolts. Let's see. There's NHL 2000. So 2001 and 2000 I have. Yeah, it's in there. I'm going to make sure it's in there. And, a lot of people don't like stuff like this, like the stickers. But I don't mind them as long as they're not on, like, the booklets and stuff, because people do that. It's so stupid. I don't have a problem with it. I don't mind these stickers because it's all nostalgia. It's all part of the memories. All right. So then we have air hockey, which is what it looked like. Air hockey. in a video game, which is kind of weird because you want to play. You know, if you're gonna play air hockey, you want to play the actual game air hockey. It's weird to play a video game version of air hockey, but they make everything, especially on PS1. There was all kinds of stuff being made. Alien Resurrection. This is actually a pretty good first-person shooter, and some decent graphics on this. So I do, you know, I don't know if it's collectible or not. It could be because I never see it. I never hear anybody talking about it, but it probably isn't. Probably not expensive, so I definitely recommend that one. Pretty good first-person shooter. And then we have the original Jet Moto complete in case. I always like the kind of green shininess Jet Moto. Those are cool games. I like the Jet Moto games. Some of my favorite arcade racers out there. And this was kind of, again, this is like a melding of futuristic stuff with extreme sports. Even says it, too extreme. So, yeah, like the Jet Moto series. I think there's like 4 of them on PS1, which is insane. And here we have 700 megabyte, 80 minute professional recordable compact disc. This is not. There's another copy of Red Alert Retaliation. I feel like there's something else in there. Oh, yeah. And another copy of 10 Pin Alley. So there's my dupes, 10 Pin Alley and Red Alert Retaliation. Ow. I think I kind of bit my tongue. And here we go. More classic Atari game or Coleco games. And let's see what we have in here. This is so tiny. Super tiny down the back. I'll just let you see how tiny those cases are. But that's a pretty good collection. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 30. Boxing, computer, chopper command, Dolphin, Dragster, Enduro, Ice Hockey Kaboom, Sequest. None of these really stand out to me except for Pitfall, Stampede, Skiing, River Raid. So there's some classic ones on here. And some people might feel like there's more classics than I'm saying because, like I said, what is this one? I can't even see it. It's so tiny. But yeah, classic. What's this? Redacted. If you're moving on, don't you have to move more to the left, right side of the screen? Yeah. All right. Nightmare Creatures. The Lovecraftian Nightmare Creatures. Decent game. Controls is the thing that kills it the most. But I do like the atmosphere and I do like the game. I'm pretty sure I also have this on N64. Or at least at some point I had it, so I'm not sure. Shadowboxing. Actually, Alien Resurrection on PS1 has some collector's value. Oh, it does? Okay. I can understand that, because, like I said, it does... I never really see anybody talk about it, and it's a good game, so I feel like it might have been collectible. That and Alien Trilogy. Do I have Alien Trilogy? I think I do. So that's cool. But yeah, so they have the Bruce Willis Apocalypse game on PS1, which was pretty garbage. And Pitfall 3D Beyond the Jungle. I don't even remember that. So I'm gonna have to look that up. I like Pitfall games, even like the newer ones. So Game Day 99. I mean, that's classic. I mean, you got a PS1. This is one of the best games. This is the game that rivaled Madden back in the day. The Game Day games from 989 Sports. So I don't know what happened with 989 Sports. I don't know if maybe Sony just didn't want to continue paying that or having that development studio with EA out there, kind of everybody knows Madden. But Game Day was pretty big on PlayStation from what I remember back in the day. So you got Terrell Davis on the front there. Super Bowl MVP Terrell Davis. All right. There you go. Rainbow Six. I think this is a dupe from, because I do have it loose like I just showed you. This is just a duplicate. Yeah, well, that's the duplicate. This is the original game that I bought. So there you go. Rainbow Six. You know what that is. And tactical shooters. Then we got Medal of Honor Underground. I actually like this one. Really, I used to like this one a lot. You know, probably doesn't hold up now because of the graphics and controls and whatnot. But I used to play this one a lot. Medal of Honor Underground. Oh boy, this game is not very good, but I bought it because I love the Independence Day movie. It's so schlocky, and but the game is not very good at all. But like I said, I bought it for that nostalgia of the movie, basically. And honestly, that level in Star Fox 64, that's basically Independence Day, is way better than any level in this game. So there you have it. All right, Spec Ops Ranger Elite. There's another Spec Ops game. This is my third Spec Ops game. Like I said, I was into these kind of tactical shooter games back in the day. I used to love like military shooter movies too, espionage and whatnot. I still do actually. Then you have Duke Nukem: A Time to Kill. This is one of the third-person Duke Nukem games where you were behind him. One of them is not very good at all. I'm not sure which one if this is the bad one or not, but I have more on N64, so I'm not sure which one it is. I don't know if it's the same game or not. And here we go again. Need for Speed 3. This is the third Need for Speed, probably the fourth Need for Speed game I showed you. Racing games are one of my favorite genres. Racing and platforming are two of my favorite genres because from the beginning when I was a kid, it was all about my platforming and racing games and shooters, right? So those are my three top kind of genres. And so you'll see a lot of, especially in my older game systems. Then we got Mortal Kombat Trilogy. This is the greatest hits version, obviously, and this is, well, the other one's the duplicate. This is the original one that I bought. So another dupe. Motor Racer. Like I said, I love me some Supercross motorsport motorbike games, and there's Motor Racer there. I would just buy them, even if I. This one again is from what I remember, but motorbiking games. Love those. Excite Bike 64. Love that game. Razor Freestyle. You guys remember these freaking things? Are they still around? I don't even know. I don't think kids really play on Razors anymore. But it was like, again, extreme sport Razor riders. People used to do these a lot as well back in the day. So, Sled Storm, another one of those extreme sport. Snowboarding. Well, not snowboarding. What do you call these things? Snowmobiles, is that what they're called? Yeah, snowmobile games. So again, it's of the ilk of the snowboarding games. Extreme sports, the 90s. The 90s was all about extreme sports. So there you go. NBA Live 98. This is probably the last NBA Live game I bought because I was all up in my Kobe Bryant courtside on N64, and these games didn't compare. These basketball games didn't compare. And by the time, the next systems came around, I was into my NBA 2K. So I gave up on Live a long time ago. This is probably the last NBA Live game I bought. Maybe I bought one on PSP, but because there was no other choice really. There was like NBA, which is pretty generic. Speaking of generic, boxing. Yes, boxing. Are there any real boxers in this? No, this is kind of a kind of cartoony, which is weird because look at that cover. That looks like kind of a serious boxing game, but if you actually look at the game, it's very cartoony looking. Look at those characters. I mean, very strange, and they just call it boxing. Yeah, very weird. Strange game. All right, and then we have. Oh, look, I just lied on myself. NBA Live 2003. This had to be a dupe. Not duplicate, but a lot game I bought in a lot. Because I really, especially in 2003, there was way better basketball games out there, like the 2K games. So this I must have bought in a group of games. And, they would always put these in bundles to get rid of them, sports games, because they lose value the minute you buy them. Nobody wants them anymore. So, Look at that, another Supercross game. Supercross 2000 from EA. Remember EA used to make all kinds of games, all kinds of sports games and stuff? Remember back then? Oh boy, classic. This is a classic. Because I was in denial back then, and here we go. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace. I still don't understand what that means. But not very good game. It's kind of like a over the top, kind of top down, kind of behind you but top down action game. It's okay. The movie's not very good. So the game is not going to be all that great either. But Moto Racer, another motor racing game. Yes, I have a ton. All right, here's my Soviet Strike. Okay, so the ones in the case. Let me make sure this is right. Yeah. So that's the full-on game, Soviet Strike. I like my shooters, like I said. Dusty. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I actually also have this on GameCube as well. Because I thought when I was buying it that it was going to have better graphics, but it doesn't. It's basically a port of this. It's a little cleaner, but not much. And the bonus disc is a demo of Dino Crisis, which is classic. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute here. This is actually Dino Crisis in here. But I do have Nemesis somewhere. So clearly I was playing them at the time. And, sometimes you put the wrong disc in because you're playing another game. Happens. So that's Dino Crisis. Not the demo, but the actual full-on game. All right, and here's Pro Skater 2. I mean, this was my favorite Pro Skater game. And there it is. Full-on in the flesh. There you go. We know what that is. We don't need to talk about that. All right. Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing. I liked it. It was on Mario Kart. I was into kart racing games. I liked Crash Bandicoot. And I was like, okay, so you guys are trying to do your Mario Kart thing. Let's see how it goes. And some people love it. I'm not one of those people. It's all right, And then they remastered it recently, or remade it. Oh boy, the classic. 40 Winks. If you know the story behind 40 Winks. I originally wanted to get this game for the N64. It was slated to come out for the N64. The game was finished on the N64, but it never released on the N64. I remember it was finished because in Nintendo Power, there was a review of it, and it gave it, I think, around an 8 or something. And this is a 3D platformer action game, and I really was waiting for this. And you look at that there. It was trying to capitalize. Move over Mario, Nintendo official magazine, So look out, Mario! Here comes the 40 Winks kids. Mario didn't have a lot to worry about, but this is still a fun game. So I basically waited 20 years. The game came out a couple of years ago, re-released, or finally released on N64 by, who's it? Pico Interactive? Who's the company that released it? I did a video on it, so if you want to find out about that. But 20 years later, I finally got my N64 cart of this game, and really cool game. It's actually really good. These games are pretty much identical, except for this game has pre-rendered cutscenes, and the N64 has end-game. So it's a give or take thing. Audio is a little better, obviously, on this. Oh boy, classic. Ape Escape. This was the first game, I believe, that used the DualShock analog controller, if I'm not mistaken, and one of my favorite PS1 games for sure. Ape Escape. I love this game. It's a 3D platformer-ish action game. Kind of mascot characters and stuff. Really cool game. And this is, which one is this? Oh, this is Crash Bandicoot 2. Apparently, I must have ripped the what do you call it? The manual. So I'm missing some pages there, and this is broke. I love this one, the CDs. So here you go. Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. Okay, so 3 is Warped. I can't remember. And 2 is Cortex Strikes Again, or Strikes Back. Strikes Again. Travis Strikes Again. So there you go. 3 is Warped. Okay, gotcha. And here we go. Speaking of 3, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped. So yes, I did like and play the Crash Bandicoot games. Crash Bandicoot 1 is, it didn't really figure out controls and all that until 2, and 2 and 3 are much better games. So, but they have the remaster, remake. I don't know what you want to call it. Shadowboxing says, my first introduction to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was from my cousin. Good times had with 1 and 2. Yes. Good old nostalgia back in the day. Great soundtrack. Oh man. I had this game complete, so I don't know where the case is. See, Crash 3 felt like a collection of mini games with a story. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, 3 was but I appreciated that it cared about it. What's the word I'm looking for? That it valued my time. You know, it didn't overstay its welcome. So, but yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite PS1 games. This has to be collectible. Let me see. Where is my? Grab my phone. I have to look this up on air because I wonder. I'm just thinking about it. So I have the game, and I know I have the case for this somewhere, but this is like a generic case. So I have the game and the manual, Omega Boost. I'm looking it up first, and I'll tell you what type of game it is. It might not be worth a darn thing. Let me see. Not that I care, but I'm just kind of curious. Omega Boost. Let's see. Yeah, it's a decent price. $40, $35 to $40, for a complete version of it. So it's not, it's not garbage. It's not like a $12 game or something. But this is awesome. The graphics in this is great. The sound is great. This is like Star Fox, basically, but you're a mech. And so you have all range mode type of levels. I don't know if there's any, I can't remember if there's on rail. I don't think there's on rail levels, but I could be wrong. But one of the things I really loved about this game is the FMVs, and because they merge like I want to say Final Fantasy style FMV graphics with like live action, and it was so cool to me. Like the opening cinematic in this game really stands out to me because you have live action people, and then you have like video game ships and mechs and stuff kind of meld together in the shot. I would think back then that would be a pretty decent budget for this type of game. So, this game that's one of the big things. This game was made by how do you say it? Polyphony. Whoever, the studio behind Gran Turismo. So this is like one of their first games outside of that series, and so quality is there. The quality for sure is there. Nobody talks about this game. This game is very, very good, and I highly recommend it. It's one of the best controlling games in that genre for sure on PS1, especially on PS1. Because PS1, some of the games, 3D games, are hit and miss as far as the controls go. But this is one of the smoothest controlling. Like I said, quality is there. Polyphony Digital did an excellent job with this game. It kind of reminds me of, like a Konami and Kojima and whatnot, doing the Metal Gear games, and that's what he's known for. And then all of a sudden he does a mech game. And that's kind of what this is. It's like Polyphony Digital's mech game. And it's very good. Highly recommend this game. Of course, Spyro the Dragon. What's up, LG Gaming? Spyro the Dragon. You know what this is. Like, it's another game that they recently, in the last couple of years, remastered, remade for current consoles or last gen consoles now. But the classic, Spyro. Like, I didn't go crazy for it. Some people have. Some people have way more nostalgia for Spyro, but I feel like if you're a Nintendo 64 dude, these types of games didn't really hold a candle to the platformers on N64. So I think if you only had a PlayStation at the time, you have more nostalgia for the platforming games on PlayStation, but they don't really hold a candle to the N64. That's not me being a fanboy. It's just kind of the facts. And here it is, the original Crash Bandicoot. Like I said, make sure that's in there. Yeah, it is. So there's my complete greatest hits copy. And there's a ton of greatest hits games on PlayStation. I think it was 200,000. So it wasn't like you had to sell 1 million to get greatest hits. I think it was 200,000 copies, which was a lot, back in these days. It wasn't all about being 1 million, 5 million seller back then. If you sold 200,000 copies, you did pretty well. So I had Die Hard Trilogy. Here's Die Hard Trilogy 2. I don't know which one is better. I think Trilogy 2 is mechanically better, but my nostalgia for Die Hard Trilogy 1 is more. You have Legend of Gaia. Yes, I do have Legend of Gaia. I don't have it here, but that's one of the games I do have. Like I said, some of my stuff is already packed up for the move, so it's gone. What can I say? Another racing subgenre I was into was the F1 games. I really like F1 games. You'll see them in my collection for all my systems a lot. So F1 Championship. Again, back when EA made more than one sports game, and Madden is trash. How can you only make one sports game, basically, and have it be as trash as the new Madden is? I don't know. All right. Speaking of tactical espionage, Siphon Filter, classic. Controls, again, are a little hard to deal with today. They don't really hold up, but I love the story. I love the world of Siphon Filter. I think I have the whole trilogy on PS1. I'd say 2 has better controls and better third-person camera with actual story. Which one are you talking about? Which game? Oh, Die Hard Trilogy. Okay. Yeah, you're probably right. The controls are better. I know it was mechanically better, but like I said, nostalgia. And here's Die Hard Trilogy. Like I said, so the other one that I showed you earlier was... So you have... I'll just put them together. You have Trilogy and Trilogy 2. Yeah, so... I have some dupes. Lucy dupes. That sounds weird. Alright, here's another collection from yesteryear games. So you have Miss Pac-Man, Dig Dug, which I love. I love Dig Dug. That's one of the old school games I really like. Miss Pac-Man as well. Then you have Galaxian, and Pole Position, Fozon, Tower, Druaga. I don't really remember any of those. I know Pole Position too, but those Dig Dug and Pole Position and Miss Pac-Man are my favorites. There should be way more games on here. This is a 800 megabyte CD, and for these games were kilobytes in size. I mean, this is pretty cheap. If you ask me, Namco, there should be way more games on here in that collection. But whatever. All right, now here it is, the granddaddy of simulation racing, Gran Turismo. I love me some Gran Turismo. When this game came out, fantastic visuals, just beautiful, beautiful car models and graphics and sound and control. Like, they put so much into these games. Polyphony Digital put so much heart and soul into the game. You got hundreds of cars and licenses and just everything. This game is just amazing. It comes with a nice amount of stuff here. And there's the game itself. And flip it over and you have another disc. So I mean, there's tons of stuff. I don't know how they pump these games out as quickly as they did. I think there's only two on original PlayStation, if I'm not correct. Only Gran Turismo. I could be wrong. Two might be PS2. We'll see in a minute. Because if two is on PlayStation, I certainly have it. But I think it's on PS2. All right. Driver. That's classic, right? Everybody remembers Driver. This was Grand Theft Auto without kind of getting out and doing things, and like you're like a getaway driver basically. I think it says it on here. You're the wheel man. So you have real car physics and damage and modeling brought to you by the creators of Destruction Derby, which I love Destruction Derby. And so they knew how to handle this type of game. So great stuff. And here we have another classic, Tekken 3. Again, which one do you like more? I might like Tekken 3 more. I'm not sure. But Tekken, didn't care much for Tekken 2 and 3 are my favorites in the series. Well, in PS1 anyway. All right. I'm sure I bought this like this at the game store. They did some cheap printout. This is Wild 9, and this game is super duper 90s. Like, your protagonist character is like a surfer dude type, and it's kind of like Earthworm Jim in some ways, like as far as like the platforming. This is what they used to call 2.5D platformer. It's kind of like Pandemonium, if you remember Pandemonium, but much darker with like that 90s tude and edge. Very stylistic. Like, you got to kind of be into that, but I really liked it. Shadowboxing says, I hated Driver when I first played it. Took weeks for me to get out of that damn garage. Bruh, I'm with you. Like, I was ready to give up on the game. I actually stopped playing it, came back to it, and then I got out of the garage, and then the game opened up. But I was having so much trouble just trying to figure out some kind of move you had to do. Because you have to show you can use the car, and so there was like moves you had to pull off in the parking garage, and it took me forever too. It's not just you. I think I hear a lot of people say that, like, that game, they should have really rethought that before they shipped that game. I'm surprised it got out, and became popular because a lot of people had trouble with that. Oh, I thought this wasn't in my group here, but it is. Final Fantasy Tactics. This is a classic. That is a classic, man. Do I need to say anything about this? This game, fantastic tactical RPG in the vein of, like a Fire Emblem, right? But with Final Fantasy in that world. Love this game. Love it. I believe it's on PSP as well, and I think there is a DS version, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that, but I think there's a DS version. All right. Yeah, boy, yeah. Disney Pixar, Bugs Life. This is actually a decent 3D platforming game. Nice visuals, especially for the time, especially on PS1. Really good looking game. Remind me of like Buck Bumble, Buck to the Bumble, Buck to the Bumble, Buck Bumble on N64. It reminded me of that game for some reason, but yeah, from the movie, licensed game. The Starved Artist, he's kind of like Snyder's Aquaman, surfer bruh, but Wild 9 is definitely a challenge. Yeah, it's not an easy game. It is tough, but I liked it. I had fun with it. He's kind of like Zack Snyder's Aquaman, surfer bruh. But Wild 9 is definitely, it's cool. Cool comparison there. And another licensed movie game. I don't remember this at all. Treasure Hunt. I guess this is kind of like a party game with Shrek in the Shrek world. I don't remember this. Probably got it in a lot. All right. And then we have Tomorrow Never Dies. Pierce Brosnan is like my favorite James Bond, but his movies weren't very good. 007, GoldenEye. Just GoldenEye, double something in the freaking game. GoldenEye was amazing. It was an amazing movie. Like, I had been waiting for Pierce Brosnan to play James Bond since like the late '80s, because he used to be in that show Remington Steele, and that's why he didn't wasn't able to do it because he was contractual, basically stuck on that show Remington Steele, and so Timothy Dalton took it over, and I didn't really care for Timothy Dalton. Some people say Timothy Dalton for James Bond is kind of like what Daniel Craig is. He's kind of more of a hard edge, but I didn't really feel that. I guess that's true. But I love Daniel Craig. I like his movies are great. I don't love him as much as Bond outside of like Casino Royale maybe, which I love. But Casino Royale and GoldenEye were made by the same director, so I'm sure that had something to do with it. But that same director went on to make Green Lantern. Ooh, Mr. Campbell, what happened there? But anyway, it was a disaster of a shoot, if you know anything about it. Anyway, Tomorrow Never Dies. So, GoldenEye came out and did amazing on N64. We all know, right? GoldenEye was one of the top-rated games of that generation, one of the favorite shooters, first-person shooters, made first-person shooters big on console, right? So, Sony was looking over and was like, or not Sony, but EA. EA was looking over like, I guess they didn't realize that it had to do with Rare. It wasn't about James Bond. It was about Rare and what amazing work they did on GoldenEye. But so they swooped in and snatched up the license for future Bond games. And none of their Bond games were any good. Well, that's not true. Nightfire I thought was really cool. But that was on GameCube and PS2, and I don't know if it was on Xbox original. It might have been. So that was really good. But the PS1 games that were Bond were not good. And this was like, they went into third person with this. So over the shoulder or behind the back, third person action. And this controls like ASS. It doesn't control well at all. It's not a great game. But there it is. And so EA took that license and they, tried to capitalize off of it and never really worked as far as I'm concerned outside of Nightfire. Nightfire was amazing. I loved Nightfire on GameCube. A lot of times me and my friends, we had a ton of fun playing the multiplayer on Nightfire the way we did playing it on GoldenEye on N64. So much fun, especially with GameCube because you had 4 players automatically with 4 controller ports. It was great. But EA Bond games were mostly not good. On GameCube, like I said, on PS1 they were not very good. On GameCube they were good and then not so good. Like I said, Nightfire was really good. God, what was the one where they actually brought back Sean Connery to redo the one? Oh my God, which one is it? Was it From Russia with Love? I think that was the one they redid on GameCube. Everything or Nothing, yes, Everything or Nothing also starred artists. I was trying to think of it. That was the other good one I liked, and that one wasn't based on a movie. But it felt like it was. And same thing with Nightfire. So those were good. The World's Not Enough PS1 is just bad. As bad as Tomorrow Never Dies, but that's because EA at the time spent most of the time on the N64 version. That version had multiplayer. Yeah. I don't remember The World had... The World is Enough. I do have that. I do actually have that on N64. That one was decent. That one was actually pretty decent. I'm just thinking the PS1 Bond games were not good. All right. Here's another game with a little bit of a story behind it. Croc. I think there was a sequel, Croc 2 as well. I know I have this on Saturn somewhere. I think I have it loose. But Croc didn't start out as a game about a crocodile. This was actually a pitch for a new Yoshi game. And it was pitched by the guy who did the programming for for Star Fox and Star Fox 64, Dylan Cuthbert. I did a pretty good kind of documentary on Star Fox through, from the beginning to up until, the rumors about whatever Star Fox was going to be on Wii U turned out to be Star Fox Zero. So I talk about Dylan Cuthbert and whatnot, and that he went on to do Q Games. He's very instrumental in the design of the FX chip on Super Nintendo. So he's pretty steeped in Nintendo. And so he pitched a Yoshi game for N64, and they went through and started building it, and they were making a full-on game at that point, and Nintendo turned it down. But that was because they were working on Yoshi's Story, which is not as good as Croc. Sorry, I would have rather have had a Yoshi game. This should have been Yoshi. This should have been the Yoshi game for N64. It would have been fantastic. Again, like I said, there's a sequel. It's really good. This game sometimes reminds me of Banjo-Kazooie. Not as good, but it has that kind of feel to it sometimes. But yeah, Croc 2 are both really good games. And so if you're looking for a platformer on PS1, Saturn, 3D platformer that nobody talks about really, Croc. I wonder if this is collectible or not, but Croc is a good game. I bet the Saturn one is, because everything on Saturn is collectible. All right, here we go. 2 of my all-time favorite PS1 games. Fear Effect and Fear Effect 2. Love these games, right? So one of my issues with PS1 is the graphics. Oh no, there goes the magazine. What do you call it? The manual. And this is is it 4-disc? I think it's 4-disc. Yeah, this is a 4-disc game. It's very long. It's very story-based. It's very kind of trial and error, tank control-y, So, and you play as this action heroine who likes the ladies. And this game was kind of ahead of its time. But it's very stylized. It's very film noir, and that's why I love it. So it's like anime meets film noir, and it's really cool. And it's like I said, it's a trial and error thing. So you got to do things. It's almost like it's not always like that, but there's sections where it's quick time ish type of things going on. But really good games, and they were supposed to do remakes. I remember it was one of the first things announced when the Switch came out was a Fear Effect remaster or a remake or something, and it still hasn't come out. They did that Fear Effect Sedna game, which wasn't very good. It's kind of like a tactical game, and they never did the Fear Effect remaster game. I don't know what happened to Fear Effect. I was so excited for this on Switch, and it never happened. So, but yeah, Fear Effect is great. And here is Fear Effect 2. This is a reproduction case, but everything is there. I know I have the mag for it somewhere, but there it is. Pretty cool. Has all the games, all the discs, I should say. And so if you just look at the character design there, you can kind of see what's going on. It's a mature rated game, so it's not afraid to be mature rated. And this is the sequel, Retro Helix. 2 very cool games. Highly recommend the Fear Effect series. Okay, so I was right. Because Gran Turismo 2 is on PS1. And again, they put so much into these games, man. I don't know. I would lose my mind if I had to design and program a game that had this much stuff, especially back in these days. Crazy. So this is the greatest hits version. Because I was still playing 1. GT Gran Turismo 1 when 2 came out. And it was like, well, I'll wait because I'm still playing 1. And so by the time I got around to it, it was already in greatest hits. So the graphics somehow were actually better on this one. So there you have it. So somehow they were able to squeeze a little bit more out of the PlayStation graphics-wise. All right, and here we go. Like I said, more of that siphon filter. Siphon Filter 2. Like this series a lot. I wish Sony would have kept with it. The PS2 game, maybe it was because the PS2 games weren't that great and weren't that well received that the series kind of died off. It was also on PSP. I think I own every Siphon Filter game, so I was a big fan. So when I say I'm not as big as a Sony fan as maybe I used to be back in the day. They don't have the franchises that I care about anymore. I mean, they got God of War. They used to have Uncharted. I don't think they're doing any more Uncharted's. And they do have one series that I do care a lot about, and that is Horizon. So they don't have the Siphon Filters and the Bushido blades and the Tenshus and all the stuff they had on PS1. And they don't have the exclusivity they used to have with stuff like Square. I guess they still kind of do with Final Fantasy, right? But isn't Final Fantasy 15 on Xbox? I don't even remember. I think it is, right? Speaking of Final Fantasy, I mean, that's the classic, right? This is a reproduction cover that I put together myself. I did it myself, and it's so clean. I like it. Maybe even better than the original. Did a pretty good job there. Look at that. That's good stuff. So, looking really nice. The classic Final Fantasy VII. And then the less loved for whatever reasons, Final Fantasy VIII is not as beloved. But I still like it a lot. All the goodies in there. Full complete version. There you have it. And, of course, got to finish out that trilogy. Final Fantasy IX, which I love. Isn't there like a collection coming for Switch? The Final Fantasy games, the remasters, not remasters, but like the clean versions, the cleaned up versions. I could be wrong. I don't know. Shadowbox, and I still remember the joke my friend made about Gabe from Siphon Filter. He said Gabe running always looked like he was running to the toilet. That's kind of true. That is very true. The way he kind of slow motion runs to the side, and yeah, he run like he had some poo poo in him or something. That's pretty funny. That's funny. It's because it's kind of true. All right, and I'm gonna save that one for last. At least of the games I still have here, to show. Then we have Matt Halpin's Pro BMX. Like I said, I like me some BMX. I like me some motocross, and so there's Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX. Because I used to BMX myself. I couldn't skateboard to save my life outside of Tony Hawk games, but I could do some BMXing, and so that was my sport of choice. We used to spend stupid money on our bikes back in the day. All right, and this is the last that I have to show you here. But like I said, I have at least 25 more games somewhere, and those are mostly my RPGs, and some more of my action stuff. Those are some of my better games in the collection. It's stuff like Blood Omen, which I have on PS1, but I already boxed them up already. So, all right, and here I'm gonna close it out with Vagrant Story. This game I know is collectible, but I think I paid like $25-$30 for it back in the day. I think this game is like, let me look it up. I don't want to be wrong. I feel like it's 150 plus, but that might be too much. Let's see. I'm surprised they never made a sequel. Well, it came out really late on the PlayStation, so it might have just gotten overlooked. I think that's what happened. Vagrant Story, PS1. Okay, so it's... Wait a minute. Vagrant Story, PS1. Oh, that's one disc. I was going to say, that looks pretty cheap. So yeah, it looks like 130 plus for a complete copy. I see 180 for this one, so it's between 100 and... I'll say 135 to 170. So, kind of steep. Oh no, here's one. It's in Canada. with shipping, it's only a little over 100. So just kind of look for the deal. There's some deals on it. So about $100 for some of them. So I'm gonna say average about 130, 140, 130, 140. So yeah, Vagrant Story. Pretty cool. Action. This is action RPG, right? This is not like turn based, from what I remember. I haven't played it in forever. I probably haven't played it since 2001. But I remember it being really cool, really good story. It was a Square RPG from back in the day, so it had all the bells and whistles. So very cool. And again, that's all I have. I know. I wish I had more. I wish I had my Tenchu, and I wish I had my Bushido blades, which I do have. I wish I had my Blood Omens, but those are all boxed. So I don't even know if I got to. Maybe I got to 110 or so with my Lucy's. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. That's my PlayStation collection. At least what I'm able to show you. What I'll do is when we move and I get all my stuff out again. When I do my PS2 collection, I'll add those extra games that I wasn't able to show you here. I'll add them for that stream. I don't have a ton of PS2, so maybe I'll probably combine PS2 and PS3, because that way I can show you the hardware. I have a PS1 or PS2 Slim, and I have the original fat version, so I can talk about that, and then I can go into like PS3, the different versions of that, because I have a fat PS3 that I bought day one, and then I also have a slim PS3. So yeah, and I don't have a ton of games for PS3, so maybe that's a good idea to combine, like my PS2 and my PS3. Did I say that? PS2, PS3, and whatever leftover PS1 games I wasn't able to show right here. But yeah, Star of Artist says, yeah, it's definitely pricey. And also the graphics were pretty good too. Would definitely benefit from a new. Oh yeah, the graphics were really nice because, like I said, it was a late PS1 game. I want to say it came out in 2000, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it came out 2000. It says copyright 2000. So it was really late, and the PS1 was coming out. I don't know if this came out after PS1 or PS2 or right around when PS2 came out, but it was close. And I think it just got overlooked because of that. People were saving up and ready for PS2 at that point. Dreamcast was out. They were eating good until PS2 came out and pretty much buried Dreamcast, sadly. But, Sega also had a lot to do with that. It wasn't just what PS2 did. But yeah, like, this game just came out late. It was like a lot of stuff that came out on Saturn, where it just came out really late. People missed it. Stuff like Panzer Dragoon Saga, and it just got missed. And so when it came, people just missed it, and then it shot up in price because it didn't sell that many copies. There's not a whole ton of copies out there. I mean, there's a decent amount, but and this is a very collectible game. So, like I said, I paid, like I rubbed the sticker off. I hate to do that. I want to say I paid about $30 for it. So, like I said, it's not crazy price now, but it's still somewhat up there. Somewhat collectible. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. That's my PS1 collection for the most part. Missing about 20 games as far as I can think. 20 complete games, complete in the case games. Because you saw a ton of like dupes and whatnot in my CD folder, but I have some, a lot more stuff, and I wasn't able to show controllers and things like that, memory cards, because that's all boxed already. So it is what it is. But that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Maybe I showed you some games that you might want to get. Again, my PS1 collection has a ton of filler. Because it wasn't one of my top consoles at the time, but it does have really good gems, and really good top selling games that came out for it. But for whatever reasons, it doesn't get as much flack for shovelware because it does have a ton of shovelware, just like the Wii has a ton of shovelware, but the Wii gets way more flack. And I know why. It's because it's motion controls, so people just kind of dismiss it for that, and they add in the shovelware, and it's just like, you know. But PS1 has a ton of garbage, just like the NES. NES has great, fantastic games, but it has a ton of garbage games. I mean, again, James Rolfe made a career off of making fun of how bad a lot of those games are on NES. So it is what it is. But yeah, guys, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and contributing. Shadowboxing, Starved Artist, LG Gaming, Sardonic popped in here for a little bit, had to leave. The Redacted Computer. I appreciate you guys. And whoever else is watching it in the replay, looking for games to pick up. Again, highly recommend Omega Boost. Highly recommend Omega Boost. Highly recommend... oh my gosh, I just pulled it out and I don't remember the name already. Vagrant Story. Obviously, the great RPGs on there. Highly recommend Chrono Cross. Again, it doesn't get as much love, but it is a great series. Siphon Filter. Again, I don't know. I would recommend it, but I don't know if it'll jive with people's sensibilities today. Unless you're like into like retro gaming, you probably won't have a problem with a lot of it. But also, highly recommend. Highly recommend the Fear Effect series. I think even gamers today will still like it. Again, it has tank controls. It does have tank controls, but it's not like a Twitch shooter game or anything, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff as much. It's just so stylistic and coolish, cool as all get out. So, all right, have a good night, LG. Thank you all for watching and listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.